The seven wonders of the ancient world were not meant to be a definitive catalog of greatness. They were, in fact, a snapshot, a personal and cultural selection, made by Greek writers who sought to define what was truly extraordinary in the world they knew. The idea emerged during the Hellenistic period, when travelers, scholars, and poets began to document the most astonishing sights across the Mediterranean and Near East. The most influential version of the list is attributed to Antipater of Sidon, a Greek poet of the 2nd century BCE. For him, the wonders were not only feats of engineering or beauty, but symbols of human ambition. Each structure represented the ability of mankind to challenge nature, defy scale, and leave a mark that could outlast generations. These wonders were not scattered randomly across the world. All were located within or near the sphere of Greek influence, revealing a clear cultural bias. China, India, and the Americas were unknown to these writers. The list was not global, it was Mediterranean. And yet, its impact became universal. What united the wonders was not their function, but their awe factor. Some were religious, others political, others purely symbolic. Temples honored gods, statues glorified rulers, and towers guided ships. Together, they formed a narrative of power, faith, knowledge, and creativity. The seven wonders were also deeply tied to storytelling. Many were already ancient when they were listed, surrounded by legends and exaggerations. Over time, myth and reality blurred. What mattered was not precision, but wonder itself, the emotional response of standing before something so vast or beautiful that words failed. In creating this list, the ancient Greeks unknowingly created one of the first cultural canons in history. A way to say, this is what humanity is capable of when it dares to build beyond necessity. The wonders were not just monuments. They were messages sent across time to anyone willing to listen. Among all the wonders of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid of Giza stands apart. It is the oldest of the seven wonders and the only one still standing. While the others vanished into ruin and legend, the Great Pyramid endures, dominating the desert as a silent challenge to time itself. Built around 2600 BCE, during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, the pyramid was constructed with more than 2 million limestone blocks, each weighing several tons. For over 3,800 years, it was the tallest man-made structure on Earth. No inscriptions explain how it was built. No definitive records describe its planning. What remains is the monument and the mystery. Contrary to popular myth, the pyramid was not built by slaves. Archaeological evidence points to a skilled workforce of laborers, engineers, and craftsmen, supported by an organized state capable of feeding, housing, and coordinating thousands of workers. This was not chaos, it was precision on a colossal scale. The pyramid's alignment is astonishing. Its sides are oriented almost perfectly to the cardinal directions, with an accuracy that rivals modern surveying. Its internal chambers, passageways, and structural design reveal an advanced understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. Every stone had a purpose. Every angle mattered. At its core, the Great Pyramid was not just a tomb, it was a statement. A declaration of divine kingship, cosmic order, and eternal rule. To the ancient Egyptians, the pharaoh was a bridge between gods and men, and the pyramid was his ladder to the stars. While theories abound hidden chambers, lost knowledge, even fantastical explanations, the true wonder of the Great Pyramid lies not in mystery, but in achievement. It stands as proof that ancient humanity, armed with ingenuity and organization, could shape the landscape itself. In a world where empires rise and fall, the Great Pyramid remains, not as a relic of the past, but as a reminder of what humans can build when ambition meets belief. While the Great Pyramid defied time, the remaining wonders were not so fortunate. Earthquakes, fires, invasions, and neglect erased some of the most magnificent structures ever built. Yet their disappearance did not diminish their power, it transformed them into legends. Described as a lush, terraced paradise rising above the desert, they were said to have been built by King Nebuchadnezzar II for his homesick queen. Strangely, no definitive archaeological evidence confirms their existence. Some scholars believe they may have been located elsewhere or never existed at all. And yet, their image remains one of the most powerful symbols of ancient imagination. The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus was not mysterious. It was monumental. Built entirely of marble, it was one of the largest temples of the ancient world. It was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times until a final act of destruction ended its glory. The temple stood not only as a religious center, but as a symbol of wealth, pride, and urban identity. At Olympia, the statue of Zeus towered over worshippers, crafted by the legendary sculptor Phidias. Made of ivory and gold, it depicted the king of the gods seated in divine calm. Its loss likely due to fire ended one of the most celebrated artistic achievements of antiquity. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus, built as a tomb for Mausolus, blended Greek, Egyptian, and Near Eastern styles. Its beauty was so influential that the word mausoleum became synonymous with monumental tombs. Earthquakes eventually reduced it to ruins. These wonders were not lost because they lacked greatness, but because greatness is fragile. Their destruction reminds us that even the most powerful symbols of human achievement are vulnerable to time, nature, and conflict. What survives today are not stones, but stories. Few monuments in history captured human ambition as dramatically as the Colossus of Rhodes. Built in the early 3rd century BCE, this gigantic bronze statue was erected to celebrate victory, specifically the triumph of the people of Rhodes over a powerful invading force. The Colossus was not just art. It was a declaration of resilience and independence. Standing over 30 meters tall, the statue depicted the sun god Helios, protector of the city. Though often imagined straddling the harbor, this popular image is likely a myth. In reality, the Colossus probably stood near the port, towering above ships and visitors alike, its gleaming surface reflecting sunlight across the sea. The construction itself was a feat of engineering. Bronze plates were mounted over an iron framework, anchored by stone and stabilized through careful balance. It took over a decade to complete, and for a brief moment in history, it stood as one of the tallest statues ever built. Yet the Colossus' life was short. Only decades after its completion, a powerful earthquake struck Rhodes, snapping the statue at the knees. The fallen giant lay broken for centuries, still considered a wonder even in ruin. Travelers came not to see it standing, but to marvel at its remains. It represented the desire to build something so vast that it defied nature, and the reminder that nature always has the final word. Its destruction was not a failure of ambition, but a lesson in impermanence. Though the statue is long gone, its image endures. The Colossus of Rhodes lives on as a metaphor for triumph, for hubris, and for the fragile line between glory and collapse. Rising from the island of Pharos, the Lighthouse of Alexandria was not built to glorify gods or kings, but to guide humanity. Constructed in the early 3rd century BCE, under the reign of Ptolemy I, it was one of the tallest structures of the ancient world and a triumph of science, engineering, and practical design. Unlike other wonders, the lighthouse served a clear function. Its towering form helped ships navigate safely into the busy harbor of Alexandria, one of the most important ports of the ancient Mediterranean. By day, its white stone reflected sunlight. By night, a massive fire possibly enhanced by mirrors cast light across the sea. The lighthouse symbolized Alexandria itself, a city of knowledge, trade, and innovation. Nearby stood the Library of Alexandria, the greatest center of learning in the ancient world. Together, the lighthouse and the library represented two pillars of civilization guidance and understanding. Architecturally, the structure was revolutionary. Its multi-tiered design combined stability with height, influencing lighthouse construction for centuries. It endured earthquakes, storms, and the passing of empires before finally collapsing after repeated seismic damage. Even in ruin, the Lighthouse of Alexandria left a lasting legacy. The word pharos became synonymous with lighthouse in many languages. Its image shaped how future civilizations thought about navigation, safety, and the relationship between science and the sea. More than a monument, the lighthouse was a promise that knowledge could illuminate darkness and that human ingenuity could protect lives as well as inspire awe. The seven wonders of the ancient world were never meant to last forever, and yet, in a way, they have. Though most were destroyed by time, nature, or human conflict, their influence endures far beyond stone and bronze. What remains is not their physical presence, but the idea they represent. These wonders were expressions of ambition. They showed what ancient civilizations valued most: divine connection, political power, artistic mastery, and scientific progress. Each wonder was a message to the future, declaring that humanity could shape the world on a monumental scale. Their destruction is part of their story. The fall of the wonders reminds us that even the greatest achievements are fragile. Earthquakes can topple giants. Fires can erase masterpieces. Empires can vanish. Yet meaning survives through memory, storytelling, and rediscovery. The seven wonders also shaped how later cultures understood greatness. They became a benchmark, inspiring new lists, new monuments, and new dreams. From medieval cathedrals to modern skyscrapers, the desire to build wonders never disappeared. It evolved. Most importantly, the wonders endure because they speak to something universal. They reflect humanity's need to transcend survival and reach for the extraordinary, to leave behind proof that we were here and that we dared to imagine beyond limits. In the end, the seven wonders were not simply monuments of the ancient world. They were monuments to the human spirit, and that is why, thousands of years later, they still fascinate us.